rolling tumors to roaring lampooners, the Tigers on a Roll show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Tigers fans. I want to do a very quick one before everyone goes to the tailgates and has their watch parties, leaves the house, puts their orange on, and goes and watches this Deep South's oldest rivalry iteration in 2025. I'm incredibly excited for this game, and we will get to that in a minute. But what I want to do first is I do want to preview the SEC matchups that we've got going on. And I want to try to keep a running total for the season. I will say, believe it or not, 5-0 so far up until this morning on games this week, whether it be NFL or NCAA. But I like to see that, and I am definitely proud of that. And I hope that, albeit, spoiler alert, this might be chalk this week in the SEC. I do want to keep that tally going, and I want to see if we can make something happen with that. So we are going to preview the SEC matchups happening today. We have got Alabama at Missouri starting first. The Missouri Tigers are at home. Alabama is a 3-point favorite, so take that for what it's worth. That's about a 10-point real-time game spread, or at least as it would show up on the scoreboard. I think they go into this game as a 3-point favorite, dropping down from a 6.5-point favorite when the line opened. I think that definitely reflects the strength of the number 14 Missouri Tigers and their home stand they've been on this season. I believe that they are 5-0 or 6. They're wanting to be 6-0 at home this season. And Alabama has certainly struggled recently against the run. We all know that Missouri prides itself on its ability to run the ball, and I think Bo Pribula is actually doing pretty decent back there in the pocket when they need to pass. They lost some significant pass catchers, but they have a decent running back stable, and their starting running back has been holding his own. He's leading the SEC, or he's up at the top of the SEC in some of those stats. This line obviously makes it a true pick'em, a nod to Alabama on this one. Missouri as a 3-point underdog is certainly a strong value bet. But from here on out on the channel, we are doing money line, so we are going to go with outright winners. And I am taking Alabama to win this one on the road. They did it against Georgia on the road. I think that, I hate to say it, Alabama is back on track. I do think that they have been performing pretty well. Whether or not Ty Simpson puts the ball in some questionable places is neither here nor there. Sometimes that's what you got to do to make big plays and potentially win these games that you are close in. So I think Missouri loses at home. They drop that. They end their homestand, and Alabama comes out with another win. I would love to see the opposite happen, but I just don't think that is in the cards this weekend. This weekend, obviously, we also have Washington State at Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a 3.5-point or a 31.5-point favorite at home. That is a huge spread. Again, we don't take spreads on this channel. We are doing outright winners. That is still a massive line. Certainly typical of an SEC team hosting a struggling non-con team. Ole Miss is a high-powered offense, of course, as they try to be every year. I'm not sure whether or not Trinidad is playing, but if he is, he has been playing at a pretty sensational level for a Group of 5 transfer, potentially he was. Either way you slice it, Ole Miss, high-powered offense and a borderline top 10 defense. They should cover this one easily. We are not taking covers. 4+ touchdowns is a risk. However, I think Ole Miss does it, and that line is realistic. I think Ole Miss is able to come out with the outright win. If you are a spread better, I don't know that I believe in 5 scores, essentially, but with how competitive the SEC has been this year, they bring in a non-con opponent. They might be able to run away with this one really, really early and maintain a 31.5-point lead if possible. So taking Ole Miss in this one. I don't know what y'all want to do with that line, but that is just what it is. Next up, we've got Arkansas at Tennessee. Tennessee Volunteers at home, 10.5-point favorites. Classic SEC divisional matchup. While Arkansas can be gritty, they have dropped a lot of easy, let's call them, games this year. They have not been able to close out, and they have not been able to hold their own. Tennessee's offense, particularly at home in Neyland Stadium, has been pretty incredible. Almost pulled it off against Georgia. That was a high-flying game. They are always going to have high-flying performances. Should be able to score enough in this one to comfortably win by double digits. If you're a spread better, 10.5, probably take more on that one. I think that they probably cover, and I am taking the Vols to win outright in this matchup. Florida at Texas A&M. We just experienced College Station, and unfortunately we did not get out there with a win. I actually think that game could have been a lot worse for the Auburn Tigers. I think that probably could have been a 14-plus point loss, but I think Florida goes into A&M, and A&M as a 7.5-point favorite. I think that Vegas is giving them to Florida too much credit. I don't think that this is as tough as a matchup as essentially a one-score game is. I think the Aggies have the defensive talent, albeit Auburn could not expose that. I think they have the talent up front to contain Florida's run game, DJ Lagway, et cetera, et cetera. And also A&M has a powerful run game to answer whatever Florida's defense might be showing them. I think that A&M's stronger talent base and their home field advantage over in Kyle Field is definitely going to be a factor, and I am ultimately taking A&M to win this one at home. I do not think Florida has the juice. And I will have to take another look at Florida's schedule, but I also don't think they'll have the juice, for a lot of these matchups from here on out. South Carolina at LSU. LSU Tigers at home, 8.5-point favorites. I think that Tiger Field gives them an incredible advantage no matter what, similar to Auburn. And both, the Tiger Stadium is one of the best college football stadiums in the country. And the fans are always drunk as skunks and hooting and hollering. And I think that South Carolina is making a decently long road trip. Injured, as far as I'm concerned, in some very vulnerable spots. And albeit, South Carolina Gamecocks having shown some fight, LSU will dominate this one at home against what is now a mid-tier SEC opponent in USC. I believe that ends up being it's a 1-2 score game at 8.5. I'm taking chalk here again with LSU winning at home. They probably do win by 2+ scores, but we don't take the spread. We're taking outright winners, and I am taking LSU on this one. And that brings us to a game close to home for me. For you as the viewer, I'm assuming you're an Auburn fan. We are going to be now on to the Deep South's oldest rivalry. And there is a lot riding on this game, which I will touch on. But it needs to be said, this is a must-win game for Hugh and the Tigers. And I want more than anything else to preface this. I want more than anything else for them to pull this off. Obviously, the Tigers are at home in Jordan-Hare Stadium. Georgia is a 3.5-point favorite. That is a coin flip. The Deep South's oldest rivalry comes to town. I think that we have the juice in terms of fans. I do not think all of the fans that you are, consuming their takes on social media. I do not think that all of the fans are correct. I do not think a lot of the fans are, tuned out. I do think that we have a solid, still committed fan base to not only the team, but also the staff for what that's worth. And everybody, another sold out game will be here in Jordan-Hare Stadium for Cam's jersey retirement, which will just add to the absolute electricity that is going to be circulating around JHS. Georgia, a top 10 team. Auburn has another chance to knock off a ranked team, and Georgia should be the clear favorite. But the atmosphere at Jordan-Hare Stadium, Hugh needing to cool his seat, and a team full of killers will make this a closer game than we have seen in the last few years. It's probably a trap game in terms of what the line is. If you're betting on the spread, it could be a trap game, but the spread suggests that it will be close. It will be a high emotion game, and hopefully for the fans and the Auburn Tigers, they will be able to bring some energy that we have not seen this year because they've been on the road. They need to be able to produce something that is tangible, a tangible change, and I think the fans and the team themselves will show up to this game with something different than we've seen so far this year. Unfortunately, I have just not seen it so far. We have not met the expectations set for us preseason. We also have not passed the eye test in the big games that we have had this year and especially over the last couple years. I am going to ignore our showing at A&M. I think it was absolutely atrocious. It was disgusting. It was sickening. I will ignore Oklahoma because I think whether or not you believe that the Auburn Tigers played well or not, that the refs had something to do with the way that that game went, fine. I am ignoring that. We have got to look back at the entire portfolio that Hugh has put together. Hugh recently has not been able to win close games. And I wish with every fiber in my being that he could, but he has not been able to. And in fact, he's lost some very embarrassing ones. However, you bring it into this weekend, and I as a fan am hoping for the best. And I hope that he turns the corner and that the team was able to prepare for this game and game plan on the bye week and do something that is more substantial than what they've done in the past. I would absolutely love for Auburn to win this game. It would mean so much to the program. It would buy Hugh much needed favor with the fan base and the administration. However, I don't think that we have put the pieces into place to win this game, no matter what UGA's offensive struggles have been this year. Every single power team that we have played besides Baylor, Power 4 team that we have played besides Baylor, has been able to expose us on the line of scrimmage where it is the most important to try to hold steadfast. And I think that Auburn's defense can certainly expose the injuries to UGA's offensive line. However, whether or not we are healthy and we've figured out the hearing problems or what have you, and we've gone to a silent count, who cares? I think that UGA, while they may not be a juggernaut like they used to be, UGA is still a championship team, a championship caliber team, and I do not know that Auburn has put the pieces into place yet in Hugh's third year to be able to win this game. Realistically speaking. Now, I would absolutely love and adore if that is not the truth and that they prove me wrong. And you can prove me wrong. Who am I? Try to prove me wrong. Go out there, have something changed after the bye week. Come out with a game plan that's different from Oklahoma and A&M. Give Kirby Smart something that he has not seen before. And go beat your friend. Go beat your absolute down-home rival. Forget Alabama at this point in the season. Georgia is one of the most hated rivalries in Auburn history. Obviously, it is the oldest rivalry in the SEC, football in the Southeast in general. Beat the hell out of Georgia. Send that damn dog to the pound. I do not care what UGA's struggles have been. I do not care what Auburn's struggles have been. This is a make or break game. When they spot the ball later today at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, you go out there and you play the hardest football that you've played this year as a freshman. This season, across the board. And you play the hardest game of football you've ever played in an Auburn uniform. And you go out there and you make a freaking statement and you go beat the hell out of Georgia. Do that. But up until this point, I just do not have confidence that we will either have a balanced attack like we need to, and if we were to have a lopsided air raid type of game plan like we did a couple weeks ago, I do not trust Jackson right now to connect with the receiving core enough to run away with this game. Now, I will go on record and say this because we have not made that many videos. I think Jackson Arnold is an incredible athlete. I think he puts a freaking tight spin on that ball. I think that he has got some very accurate placement. I know that we have got some of the best receivers in the country, and I think that our running back room is underrated. And I said that in a pod a couple days ago. I think that we have a quote-unquote elite running back room when you look at it statistically. Whether or not people gave them credit for that is neither here nor there at this point. We need to utilize them. We need to utilize them to give Jackson Arnold the chance to throw dots to a receiving core that is making millions of dollars and is allegedly one of the best in the country. So please, 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 Hugh and the Auburn Tigers football team, prove me wrong. Or at least win this thing pounding the rock. You don't have to air it out and prove me wrong and say you can go do it. Just win the dang game, first of all. And second of all, go out there, and if you can't connect on deep balls, you're not going to score on every single deep ball you throw. Go run the damn rock and run for 120 yards and connect on some deep throws because you open it up with the run game. Go pound the rock on the ground. And I will try to predict this one. I hate to say it with every fiber of my being, but I think UGA could win this one by 3 scores if we really let them have the opportunity. I'm not taking lines. I'm just doing straight up winners, money line betting. Excuse me. And I hope for the best for the Auburn Tigers. My Auburn Tigers. It will be even sweeter if they can go out there and change the narrative. Change the narrative that the national media thinks. Change the narrative that rival fans think. Change the narrative that I was just elaborating on. They certainly have a route to winning this game. They do. And I want for Auburn to win it as much as anyone else. As you can tell, I'm a diehard Auburn fan. I am biased. No question about it. But myself and all of the other fans, whether or not you're going to Jordan-Hare this weekend, or if you're watching it from home, or if you're in freaking, Madagascar, checking in on the score on the ESPN app, we need to see it as fans. This is a pivotal moment in the season, in Hugh Freeze's career at Auburn, Cam Coleman's career at Auburn. This is a pivotal moment. You are seeing on social media that people are saying that Cam Coleman's going to be transferring to Texas A&M. He's going to wear Adidas. Blah, 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 blah. Shut them the hell up. Hugh needs to come out of the bye week and find a way to be on top of this game. You need to come out on top. You need to win this game. I do not think Auburn can do it yet, but there is a chance. I am taking Georgia to win this game, but there is a chance that Auburn can do it. And they need to execute on that, and they need to show up with something that shows all of us that they are able to do it, they're willing to do it, and they will play 60 minutes to make it happen, and they end up doing it. If we can, we are staring down 8-4 or even better. And that is all we can ask for. That is the tangible progress that everyone has asked for recently. And as long as we can do this today, that is what gets us over the hump. You can forget about Vandy the last couple years. You can forget about everything. New Mexico State. You can sleep peacefully at night if we win this game later today, knowing that we have finally put it together. I, right now, don't think we have. But I am more than willing to be wrong, and I am hoping that I am wrong, because I want more than anything else for Auburn to turn the corner in SEC play, in this Georgia rivalry, recent record that they have had, and just in general, the football team and Coach Hugh Freeze and his staff and these players that we have been able to retain, they need to go and win against Georgia and make a statement and turn this thing around. And I will be watching in a couple hours, hoping and praying and taking notes and everything else you could possibly do while we go up against the Georgia Bulldogs at home. Under the lights, under the lasers, under the fireworks. And I am hoping that we are able to eventually make something happen, and that we can do something beneficial today that will change the trajectory of this program for potentially years to come. This is a huge recruiting weekend. This is a huge game. This is a huge rivalry. Let's do it. And with that, War Damn Eagle.